coming. Thousands and lakhs on the streets in Delhi and Mumbai as they greet men in blue and are champions back in the country with the World Cup. The meeting with the Prime Minister happened, so did the greeting with the fans. We bring you some highlights just in case you're living under a rock and managed to miss it. All right, let's start the program today. And today we are turning into a topic that's music to our ears, quite literally. Now, recently you might have heard what happened to singer Alka Yagnik. One of India's most iconic voices has turned deaf. In a post revealing what exactly happened to her, she spoke about the perils of headphones. So on the program today, we are diving into the world of headphone culture and why it should not be falling on deaf ears. Remember, headphones today that we use for working out, it's a constant companion for commuting, even while sleeping. So what exactly is the best way to do it? That's what we're going to discuss.
We did a little research, our entire team, and you already know the basics on headphones, but we thought let's really break it down. So you can broadly divide headphones that are available on the market right now into three different categories. You have in-ear, you have on the ear, and you have over the ear. We'll tell you the difference in just a second. An over the ear headphone is a type of headphone that has a thicker headband and a larger ear cup, which more or less covers your entire ear inside the ear pads. The ear pads are bigger than your ears themselves, so that they can cover your ears entirely effectively. Then you have on-ear headphones, slightly different. They're a type of headphone that have smaller cups than we've just talked about. They sit on your ear and the ear pads are somewhat the size of your ears themselves or even smaller, and they don't fully cover your entire ear.
That's right. And then there's a third kind, the in-ear headphones, which perhaps are the most common these days. There are these AirPods that are very popular. There are buds, which all are inserted inside. Then there is also the most talked about and perhaps the most debatable concept when it comes to headphones. It is called noise cancellation. Now, on one hand, what does noise cancellation do? It means that it cuts out outside noise, meaning you don't have to hear the volume at a very high level. Good music experience can happen at lower volumes, but long and uninterrupted exposure can also do a lot of harm, which is what we're going to discuss on the program today. Let's bring in our guest, and we've got three very diverse voices and three different sort of opinions that we really want to understand. We have Dr. Shashidhar with us. He is the head of ENT surgeon at a department in Artemis Hospital. Hi, good morning, Doc. Thanks so much for joining us over there. We also have with us in the studio Raghav Sachar, singer, musician. You all know him. We all love his music. And I want to understand what is this sort of perils, health perils of the industry that Alka Yagnik is talking about. And we also have Samarth Agarwal with us. He's a sound engineer, composer, performer, and also somebody who's constantly with headphones on. So let's start with Samarth, really. Samarth, you understand these different kinds of headphones more than anybody else at this point. And, you know, at a time and age when people can order headphones on Blinkit, on other apps and receive it in 10 minutes, people are not thinking too much when they buy headphones, really. What, according to you, is the sort of bifurcation that one must keep in mind? And are there different kinds that you also use then?
Absolutely. In our daily routine, we use headphones almost all the time. And for us, we have three specific categories that we like to use. One, which is the on-ear headphones that you can see. These are best for balance between comfort and sound quality. Then you have the in-ear headphones, which are more like intimate to cancel out ambient noises. And then you have the over-ear headphones, which are focused on comfort as well as long-lasting usage to avoid like discomfort for users.
Right, interesting over there. Do I want to take that question to the doctor then next?
Right. So, Dr. Shashidhar, tell us, I know there are some more factors. So, for example, how long you're listening, what volume you're listening to, how many decibels. So, those factors matter too. But broadly, if you had to give us a sort of guide, which one of these three kinds is the least damaging?
A very good question. Actually, there's another fourth kind, which we say bone conduction headphones, which do not actually go near the ears, but it's near the temple on the bone. And they are the ones which are best because they don't interfere with normal ambient listening. You can put it on, run, you can still hear the traffic and people talking to you. So the over the ear headphones are the best when you're looking at quality listening, because the volume and everything never gets too loud. Second point is, if any headphone you put and you're not hearing a normal conversation from the other side, then you're already too loud. So that's the benchmark, the rule of thumb. It doesn't matter you're using in the ear, over the ear, or any other headphones, except it's in a noise cancellation mode. But if you're not able to hear the other person talking to you, your volume is already too high to damage the ears.
Okay, that's a
All
good...
right then. I have a follow-up question to that, but let me bring in Raghav also once. Raghav, firstly, it's shocking what happened to Alka Yagnik. And the fact that for the first time she's put this on record, that there are health perils when it comes to using headphones as well. We in fact did a bit of research and found out there were several artists internationally who've all went almost deaf towards the end of their career, and some very big names over there. Do you also feel that this is the kind of impact one is seeing? Because I also see a lot of live performances use in-ears. You have to wear it all the time for a long duration.
Right. This is a situation that I have also been considering getting some answers for, because especially since Alka ma'am situations come to light, it's very troubling because we are constantly performing. I'm a performing artist and I'm on stage almost every second day. And what happens is, these headphones that we have, they are not the ones that I use, are not the ones that are these regular headphones. And you can't be wearing a chunky headphone on stage while you are jumping, playing multiple instruments. It becomes very difficult. So you want something which is very mobile, but you again can't have AirPods because they can slip out and they can fall out while you're doing all of that. So what we wear are something called as molded headphones. So basically what happens is, you give a mold, your ear mold, and there are certain companies internationally and even in India now that make these molds which cover the outer part of your ear completely. They are called the in-ears. They are the actual in-ear monitors. And there is also a canal, there is like a protrusion that goes inside, deep inside your ear. So that what it does is, it's almost like noise cancellation, but it's noise cancellation from the outer area. So it completely cups your, so you are not able to hear the audience. You're not, in fact, to hear the audience, you need to put mics in the audiences so that you're able to kind of understand whether they are reacting to your music, not reacting, when you want to hear them cheer. But having said that, these in-ear monitors are completely deep inside. So what they do is, they are supposed to basically give you so much of isolation that you don't have to crank them up that much.
Yeah.
But this also, over a period of time, what happens is, when the energy levels go up while you're performing, and when everything is happening, the drums are blaring, you have a tendency of going and reaching out to your belt pack and cranking that up, and that happens. And I'm telling you, after almost all concerts, I have a ringing sound in my ears, and I'm trying to understand how to kind of get this done. Probably the doc can help us in this.
Let's take that to the doctor then. Doctor, you just heard Raghav over there, and this is obviously a professional hazard. But a lot of people these days, because of the good quality of headphones available all over the country, are using different kinds of headphones. So what is your advice to them?
So one of the new things which has come up in last 10 years is the problem which we see particularly in call center people, the people who use a lot of headphones, is severe pain in the ear, like a shooting, stabbing pain when you get the devices. And a lot of it is to do with the Bluetooth energy which the devices use, because we started with Bluetooth 3, 4, 5, now there's Bluetooth 6. So it's packing a lot of information and a lot of energy, and that causes a shooting pain. So the biggest advice is, you need to let the nerves rest. So even if you're using it, use it for some time, like 20 minutes. Take a break when you're starting to get the pain. If you're going to use it continuously, you can have headaches, you can have tinnitus. All these are, fatigue and overuse signs, because your nerves can't take so much of energy, which is coming from a very point source, which is very close to the inner ear. And that's something which is a concerning thing. So use bigger phones, because they tend to dissipate the energy. rather than a point source.
Is that where that's where inner headphones, because do we have the longitudinal research, doctor? A lot of the earphones that we're talking about right now, AirPods for example, that you put inside your ear, those are newer on the market. So do we have the kind of data, the 10-year data of what that can look like, the usage every day?
So we have a 10-year data on, trials which have been done on metro goers who are using the headphones, which causes hearing loss. But no one's actually really done a long-term study to see how much these earphones are causing tumors or, longitudinal headaches and tinnitus to conclusively prove it. So most of these devices will get a CE certification that they're okay to use if their radiation level is below a certain limit. But, it's no brainer that we ask the patient to not use the headphones for a few days and they're like, doc, nobody told me and I'm just fine. So, there's a certain common sense to it, but I completely agree with you. We need long-term studies to kind of say what level of radiation and what amount of exposure is important in determining the perils of these Bluetooth devices. But this doesn't happen with the cable devices.
But let's talk solutions then, doctor.
Yeah.
Let's talk solutions over here. What can one do then? And I want to go around everybody with that question as well. According to you, somebody who's a professional, who, like Raghav said, every second day he's in a concert, he can't, take it off or wear something chunky or wear something cabled, like you said. And even for everyday, day-to-day you, somebody like a Samarth or somebody like me also who listens to music all the time, what can we do?
So we always say, like what Raghav was saying, invest in a good headphones which actually has a noise cancellation, because when the ambient noise is cut down, your innate volume, the volume which you're listening, is actually brought down. So that is easy for ears to kind of prevent any damage. Second is, if you have to decide between comfort and the sound quality, give preference to the comfort. So that's where the bone conduction devices. Now there's a whole new market of bone conduction devices which are coming, which avoids all these problems of, heating up the ears, and people can actually wear it for 10 hours and still not feel, anything wrong. And you also are able to hear outside world. But if you have to go and listen to a particular song and really high fidelity sounds, use over-the-ear headphones. And, when you're done with it, just keep it back. Don't sleep with it. That's the most terrible thing. You put on a really good pair of headphones and sleep, and 7 hours, 6 hours, you're just listening while you're in sleep. And that again causes the noise-induced hearing loss.
So Doc, I have a question. Sorry if that's a possibility. I wanted to check with you, Doc. Now, from our perspective as performing artists, and this is exactly now connected with Alka ma'am, because of the overuse of the headphones, and I find myself in this situation over and over again. Will the bone conduction device that you're talking about help us in a live concert situation as well? Because that is where the highest amount of concentration and cranking up the volume happens. Because when you're in a controlled environment in a studio, you can still kind of take breaks, and you are aware of that situation. You can calm down, you can go out for 20 minutes, come back in, and then give that break. But in a concert where 1.5, 2 hours, 3 hours, you have to be entertaining the audiences, and that adrenaline level is so high that you are not concerned whether my ears are going to be ringing later on or not. So how do we deal with that, and can that bone conduction headphone help a person like me in this case?
So the beauty of bone conduction ones are that they never go more than 60-65 decibels. So if it's a very, very loud environment, you may actually not hear it that well. So now they come up with hybrids, which are half bone conduction and half the normal ones. And I've used and tested those. They work pretty all right. And they leave your ears free, and they're very, form factor is such that, even if you jump or run around, because it's for athletes, you can even do swimming with them, it doesn't come off. So I think, you'll have to try on your personal basis, but it's worth trying these newer ones. But to customize what you're talking about in the ear and really good ones, I think they are the benchmark and they are the gold standard which you've been using in the industry. But it's worth
Right.
dwelling into the hybrids or the bone conduction ones to see. Now the interesting part is whenever there's a hearing loss because of noise, it is exactly at 4 kilohertz frequency, which is a high frequency loss. The speech
Correct.
frequencies are between 500 to 4000. So at the end of the speech frequencies, so you will not even realize that you are having a hearing loss because your normal conversation hearing is just going to be absolutely fine. But over the time, you're going to lose your high frequency. So if you are an artist and you are in this profession, you need to get your hearing test done every 6 months, like a eye test or any of the blood tests which we do as a proactive. You got to go to this audiology center and just get a hearing test. And if you are seeing a decline in your hearing every 6 months or 1 year, I mean, you got to go back and rethink yourself. What are you doing? So the hunch here is when the singer Alka, she had a sudden hearing loss. She also had a pre-existing hearing loss because of overuse over the years.
Correct.
And when you have a pre-existing loss and even a small damage to the ears can be devastating. So that's why she had put it up as a learning lesson for the younger generation and other people. Guys, take it easy, and there are perils to it. Don't just go and crank up the music and think everything's going to be fine.
Doc, this last takeaway for our audiences who might be watching right now, who aren't music professionals but should still pay attention, our phones allow us to set a sound limit. Do you suggest it should be a 70 decibel, a 75 decibel? Your iPhone, for example, you can go in there and say you won't put the volume beyond a certain sound. But what should that mark be? Because the iPhone allows it to be 75, which I believe is already more than 70, which is what it should be.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a great suggestion. And if you put 70, you are like way below the safe limit. See, the damage happens when you're above 90 for more than 6 hours, and that's a short damage. But keeping it 70 to 75, and even if you're using for prolonged hours, you should be okay. And if you are going to use for prolonged hours, it's advisable not to use the energy ones, but to use the good old-fashioned cable, because then the nerve heating and other radiation-related problems don't come up. And as long as you can,
All right then. So
when you're in a room, you can just put a speaker.
Yeah.
We are getting really good quality compact speakers nowadays. So might as well use it. And headphones, try to limit it.
yeah. All right, so a couple of takeaways there, very concrete ones. One, for professionals, there is a new kind that one must dig in. I hope that answered your question, Raghav.
Yes.
Second, on people, on everyday, day-to-day people, please don't exceed it more than 6 hours uninterrupted and keep it 70% and below. And then please invest in good quality headphones. And as the doctor is suggesting, shed them all together and get some good speakers. That's gonna really keep your ears active for a long, long time. Thank you all so much for joining us with your insights. This has been very educational, and I hope this has been helpful for everybody.